story all about myself called How the Grinch, that's me, stole Christmas. So here's how I, the Grinch, stole Christmas. Every who down at Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But I, the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. I, the Grinch, hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head. My head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that my shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that my heart was two sizes too small. But whatever the reason, my heart or my shoes, I stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who, staring down from my cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For I knew every Who down at Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging the stockings, I snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then I cried with my great fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. But tomorrow I knew. All the Who girls and boys would wait bright and early. They rushed for the toys. And then all the noise. That's one thing I hated. The noise. Then the Who's young and old would sit down to a feast, and they feast. They would feast on Who Penny, a rare Who roast beast, which was something I, the Grinch, couldn't stand in the least. And then they do something I liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, that's all in the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They stand hand in hand, and the Who's will start singing. They sing. And the more I, the Grinch, thought of this Who Christmas sing, then the more I, the Grinch, thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then I got an idea. An awful idea. I, the Grinch, got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. I, the Grinch, laughed in my throat. And I made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And I chuckled and clucked. But what a great, Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. I, the Grinch, looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop I, the old Grinch? No. I, the Grinch, simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So I called my dog Max. Then I took some red thread, and I tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then I loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and I hitched up old Max. And I, the Grinch, said, get up. And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark, quite snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. Well, I came to the first little house on the square. It is stop number 1. I, the old Grinchy Claus, hissed. And I climbed to the roof, and the bags in my fist. And I slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, so could I, the Grinch. I got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then I stuck my head out of the fireplace, flew, where the little Who's stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, I grinned, are the first things to go. And I slithered and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant, around the whole room, and I took every present, pop guns and bicycles, roller skates and drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums, and I stuffed them in bags. And I, the Grinch, very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. And I slunk to the ice box. I took the Who's feast. I took the Who pudding. I took the roast beast. I cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, I, that Grinch, even took their least can of Who hash. Then I stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, I, the Grinch, I was stuffed up the tree. And I, the Grinch, grabbed the tree, and I started to shove when I heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. I turned around fast, and I saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. I, the Grinch, had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at I, the Grinch, and said,
Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
But you know, I, that old Grinch, was so smart and so slick. I fought up a lie, and I fought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, I, the fake Santa Claus, lied. There's a light on this tree that won't line on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here. And my fib fooled the child. Then I patted her head, and I got her a drink, and I sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou went to bed with her cup, I went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing I took was a log for the fire. Then I went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On the walls I left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that I left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then I did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was dawn, all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still snooze when I pat them, I said. Pat them up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, I rode with my load to the tip top to dump it. Pooh, pooh to the Who's, I was gratuitously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down and Who'll will all cry, boo-hoo. That's the noise I, the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So I paused, and I, the Grinch, put my hand to my ear. And I did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. I stared at Whoville. Out of the Grinch popped my eyes, and I shook. What I saw was a shocking surprise. And the Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was sending without any presents at all. I hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow, however, it came just the same. And I, the Grinch, with my Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And I puzzled 3 hours till my puzzle was sore. Then I, the Grinch, thought of something I hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, I thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart, grew free sizes that day, and the minute my heart didn't feel quite so tight, I whizzed with my load through the bright morning light, and I brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and me, myself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. The end. I hope you'll get your Christmas spirit like me, the Grinch. Don't you get Grinched on Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas and never forget to subscribe, the old Grinch.